Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and I'm here on Monday, November 15th, 2021, for my weekly cross-stitching update. I have Smokey down here, so we'll see how she does. Hopefully you'll get a little peek of her and she's not too disruptive, but we shall see. I have a decent amount to show you, not a huge amount of projects, but I'm pretty happy with what I was able to get done this week, considering I had a pretty busy week. So let's get going. First off, since I have it queued up here, I'll go ahead and do the drawing for the giveaway from last week, which was this quilt pattern called Geneva. And I had 20 unique comments with the word Geneva in it from last time, so we'll go ahead and draw for that. All right, Bonnie Goodsell, congratulations. Geneva, please. Well, oh, what was I going to say? I don't have any snappy comebacks. I was going to say, like, thank you, you're welcome, something like that. Anyways, congratulations, Bonnie. You get the Geneva pattern, and I hope you enjoy that. And you can contact me on my email, Instagram, or Etsy, and get me your mailing address. And I'll get that in the mail to you soon, I hope. The giveaways from last week, I haven't mailed yet because I haven't been able to get to the post office. Especially the planner one needs to be mailed from the post office, and it was too busy last week. I had a whole bunch of Etsy sales, physical, to get in the mail, and I had a mini Thanksgiving on Thursday with my family. I'll do my husband's family on actual Thanksgiving. So I was hosting, made a turkey. It was a busy week, kind of last minute, wasn't expecting it necessarily to be at my house. So I didn't get any stitching done on Thursday, and the rest of the week was a little crowded with other things. So one of the things I sold quite a bit of this past week was some fabric. I put up on my Etsy shop offcuts of fabric. These are offcuts of fabrics that I used in my temperature kits and other kits, and I have more offcuts than I know what to do with, and they're the Ada. They're mostly 14, and there's some 18 light blue that's left. The water lily is all gone. I had posted this on my Instagram earlier this week, and so I sold quite a few pieces already, but there's still these colors left. This is a random brand, Dusty Blue, that I don't know what it is, but I picked it up when I was waiting for like 4 or 5 months for my order of the regular fabrics to come in because they were having backstock issues. These two blues are Zweigart, and I think the white is Witchell. So those are the brands of those, and if you're interested, I still have a few pieces on my Etsy shop. There's Smokey. Hello. Hopefully she'll be a good kitty. Maybe I'll try to, yeah, hopefully you can see her. See her little ears. Maybe I'll try to dip it down just a little bit so you can see her in the background. Now I'm cut off. I'll shrink. Okay, let's see. I guess oh yeah, a couple things. There was a Heaven and Earth Designs sale a couple weeks ago now, and I forgot to share this last time, but I did buy something. It popped up on the same day as my friend's birthday, who likes full coverage pieces. So I was like, well, I have to get her something. So I gave her something, and while I was on there, I looked around for myself. I don't currently have anything on my wish list because I've really gotten everything that I've wanted. But I ran across this one, which is one that I've seen when I first discovered Heaven and Earth Designs back in, well, this is 2007. So I'm assuming at least back to then, which is 14 years, because that's when my oldest son was born. So I have toner save mode printed out, so it's a little richer in real life, but this is called Rose by Rachel Anderson, and I've always loved this. It's very crisp, the foreground, and then the background is fuzzy, so I'm planning to stitch it on a modeled hand-dyed fabric and just stitch the foreground. Got the full-size version because I'm a sucker for detail, and I found a fabric that I'm hoping will work for it. It is 32 count, so it's going to be really tiny. I'm planning to do full crosses, and what was I going to say? because it's on 32 count, I can get it on a fat quarter. If I were to do 28, which is typically what I do with full crosses, it would have to go up to a fat half, which with hand-dyed fabric is pretty expensive. So I figured, I think I can do a 32 count. I don't really want to do a half stitch with something like this that's only the foreground, because I'd be afraid that the half stitches wouldn't be quite right, you know, when it's just standing out against a background. When it's full coverage, half stitches I think are fine. So I was considering 40 count hand-dyed for a little bit, and part of the problem too is there is not that many 40 count options available in hand-dyed fabric. There's a few now that have become available, but most of them are more sampler colors, not model-y, splotchy stuff. So this is definitely washed out for my printer, but the fabric is like, or the background here is like greens and blues and pinks and yellows. So I wanted something kind of along that line, and I think I found something. So when it comes in probably a few weeks, because it's a hand-dyed fabric, I hope it will work. So that is something that I don't know when I'll start it, but I've got it. And paid, oh yeah, and one last piece of administrative, back to this sampler of stitches by the Drawn Thread that I will be starting in the new year for my New Year New Start. I'm planning to do one letter every 2 weeks. So it's just like this little strip for A will be the first. I'm hoping I can get it done in a weekend, because each one is just a little strip of a variety of specialty stitches that start with that letter. So I thought that would be really fun. I was gifted this by a very generous friend, viewer, and she gave me what appears to be 32 count, like antique white, and all the silks. And so recently, I've had quite a few, there's been quite a few people jumping on board. There's a kitty still. Jumping on board with this stitch along. And so we're gonna do the hashtag SOS 2022 SAL, S-A-L. So if you are joining us, come share your kitting up process on Instagram, and then throughout this coming year, share your progress. The 1st of January is a Saturday. So I'm planning to start mine on that day, on January 1st. So I think that's why I chose, well, hopefully I can get one in a weekend, because that might be a nice way to do it. Every other week, just start a new letter on the weekend. And I have often a larger chunk of stitching time on the weekend. So I think that'll help as well. If something comes up, a stitching event, or some friends want to do something, or I have a, family travels or whatnot comes up on the weekend that I'm planning to start the next letter, I'll probably shift things around. So feel free to do that as well, if whatever works for your life. Bath time. But just to let you know that that's what I'm kind of, most of the time, I'll do it every other Saturday. I'll start a new letter. I had some questions. Last time I had trying to find some of these threads. These are MPI silks, which I think are available readily at more off, like quite a few cross stitch retailers, but these Averswa 100/3 and pearl colors are not as often available by cross stitching websites. They're more likely on needlepoint websites, and last time it was like Rittenhouse Needlepoint was a suggested retailer to find these. Another comment, I think it was from City Stitcher, who's also got a Flosstube and is doing this coming year. She recommended Traditional Stitches, which is based in Canada, The Attic, and Needle in a Haystack. She was saying all three of those cross-stitch retailers order from Access Commodities, which is the brand that puts this out. This bag that mine came in even says that, Access Commodities. So they can order them for you if they don't have them already in stock. So check out those three places: Traditional Stitches, The Attic, Needle in a Haystack. So those are all places where you might be able to find this. And then the other comment was, are there any duplicate silks? So I looked through here because I didn't know. I think the patterns are not super clear, and I haven't actually dug into them to figure it out. I think part of the problem is the patterns come in chunks. So like ABC is one pattern, DEF is another pattern. So combining them all together, it looks like this kit was put together by the Drawn Thread Linen and Silks like pack. So they do have doubles of the two blues. So their colors, these two, they had doubles of those. Color 325 and 321. They had two of the MPI silks, and all the rest were just one color. And then this one as well, the Swab Pearl, they had two. So if you're looking to source this exactly how it's charted, that's what I was given. I don't know if that's needed or just recommended. I'm pretty frugal with my floss, but that's what I can share with you if that would help anybody. And beyond that, like I said last time, if you don't want to splurge on the silks because MPIs are solid, it could very easily be converted to DMC or any other cotton floss. So feel free to do that as well. Because that's, if I was not gifted the supplies and only the patterns, that's probably what I would do. I would probably just convert it to DMC because that's how I roll. If it's not variegated, I don't necessarily want to splurge to pay for it, but if it was gifted to me, I'll definitely use it. So, yeah, so I think you can find MPI conversion charts to DMC if that's something that you're interested in. So let me know if you need help finding one and I can try to Google it for you. Let's see. I think we're on to what I'm going to work on this week, or what I worked on this week and what I will work on this coming week. I did not get to my Mill Hill Monday project yet, but I think I am going to get back to it. Last week, I was kind of coming off of a slump from my stitching, partly possibly because I had been sick, and partly maybe because I was focusing too much on waterfall in Yosemite, and it's kind of a stitchy bug killer, and it historically has been that way as well. I need to kind of work on that in smaller chunks, I think, rather than trying to focus all out on that one. But once I did the calculations while I was editing last week's video on Knitting Woman, which is my new focus piece. It's this one by Golden Kite. I am making this for my mom. She knows I'm working on it. She knows I've been working on it for years, and every once in a while I'll show her my progress. I showed her again this Thursday, like, look, I'm working on this more again, like, see where I'm at. And I didn't tell her I'm aiming to finish it for her birthday next year, but I think that's my goal now. When I did the calculations in editing last week, I was pleasantly surprised to find out I was already more than 50% complete, and I only need to do about 50 stitches a day for a year to get it done, which is totally doable, especially since they're half stitches. There's still a good amount of confetti, so I can't necessarily do, I did most of the background already, so big blocks of color are harder to come by. But lately, I think I've did 3 or 4 days this week on this. Let's see, 1, 2, yeah, so I did 3 days, and one day I had less than 50, but the other 2 days I was like 80 something or 70 something because I was picking a color and just finishing the string, and that's how many I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and I went ahead and started working on it as a bonus stitching piece daily, every day, and I started my year this past week because my mom's birthday was this week. So if I start it now and I get it done by next year, the same time, I can give it to her. So that's kind of my goal now, is to finish that for her for next year's birthday. And so I started focusing on it now. I guess I'll share that since we're talking about it. This is on 22 count Aida 2/1 half stitches. From a distance, it looks really good. close up, the coverage is pretty spotty, especially in the dark colors. But when I decided to try half stitches, this piece of fabric was in my stash, and I was like, it's a perfect size, let's just try it. And I like it from a distance. So I think, I mean, I'm definitely going to go ahead and keep working on it. The top chunk for like here up is completely finished. And now I'm picking symbols starting from the top down, and I'm, like I said, I'm working the string until it runs out. So I have some more work since last time in the arms and the hands, because I found 3 different colors of skin colors. So that's what you'll see different. You see the start of the cat over here, and I'm so excited to work on this for my mom. So hopefully you will see progress on this every week from here on out and see how that goes. That finding out that I could finish this next year was really motivating to me to get back into cross stitching. And even though this week was really busy and there were some days I couldn't stitch at all, I'm reinvigorated to stitch. And so I'm also being realistic about my stitching time for the rest of the year, because it is busy, and I have a big project that we do every Thanksgiving that I need to work on between now and Thanksgiving. So the next couple weeks are going to be pretty crowded in my personal time. So I'm being realistic, and because of that, I'm going to focus on mainly one piece every week besides that bonus stitching. So I think that'll be helpful to be able to just sink my teeth into one project and not be switching around, because when I switch around, then I feel obligated to get to something that I've scheduled for that day, and oh, I have to get work on it, and oh no, I missed it. I don't want to deal with that right now. So that's what I did this past week, and I really enjoyed that. So going forward, that's what I'm planning to do, at least for the next few weeks. And if I feel more relaxed in December, then perhaps I'll change it up, but I think I might continue to just focus on one thing a week, and I'm going to focus on a few of the family things I want to finish, as well as Christmas things, and then if I have any other wiggle room in there, I might throw in some more family pieces or other things I feel like working on before the end of the year. So I do think I want to get back to Mill Hill Monday though, so for the rest of November, I want to work on this one, and in December I may pull out my snowflake ornament, because it could be kind of fun to work on that in December for Christmas. The pretzel that I received for my birthday will probably end up as a fridge magnet, because my husband wants to see it all the time. Doesn't want it only for the Christmas tree. So I could work on the little snowflake ornament kit that I have and maybe get that done in December. And then when this is done, I'll pull this back out in January, and then when this is done, maybe I'll do the pretzel before going back to another buttons and beads. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Uh-oh. There we go. Almost lost my needle. So this has not had any change, but this is a before picture, and I hope to work on this for 1 or 2 links of thread on Monday, which is today, before working on my focus piece. And then the rest of the week I'll work on Knitting Woman for 1 length of thread, and I will be back in my groove, I think, with that. So there's the starting point on that. My travel stitching has gone pretty well. I've got my temperature typography that I worked on yesterday. I got the V, O and the V done in November. So here's where that's at. 28 count, 1/1, kind of a mystery pale blue, even weave. And it's, you know, definitely it's similar to these parts of October right here, but the next, the E is going to be pretty warm again. Yesterday it even got up into the low 90s, I believe. So it'll be nice yellowy orange E. But that's where we're at right now. And looking forward to starting my butterflies. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. Maybe in the coming year, maybe when the weekends that I'm not working on Sampler of Stitches, I might have a more focused Sunday where the whole Sunday I work on the butterfly project and get more outlines finished, so I can try to stay ahead of my temperature piece. I don't know. I'll put a picture up in case anybody doesn't know what this is. My most recent temperature design, temperature butterflies. It has a dark gray outline for each butterfly, and then the little, patches of the wings, the stained glass looking wings, are the different days of the year based on your temperature. So that's what I'll be doing this coming year. And yeah, so try to stay ahead of all those outlines. I would like to maybe focus on it a little bit. On like every other Sunday, I'll spend the whole day working on temperature butterflies, just to keep up on those outlines. So my main travel piece this week was Autumn Beauties by the Fat Quarter Shop. I'm still working on this, trying to get it done. I made some decent progress this week. Travel stitching definitely doesn't get quite as much done as if I focus on it all week, like I did for a little bit a couple weeks ago, but I'm pretty happy with what I got done. I'm working on this with all the called for things. And here is where it's at. This is 14 count Oatmeal Ada by the Fat Quarter Shop or by Lori Holt. I want to open that up with my finger. There we go. And I got the entire outside row of blue finished in the border. So there's a little bit more blue on the inside of the border. I finished the black. I finished the green. So now I can go on. I think the next thing I'll work on is the yellow flowers, and maybe alternate yellow flowers and border. And then I have that pumpkin right here I have left to do as well. Oh, and there's the white in these dots of these sunflowers. So when I get that white out, I'll do some more white in the border, that kind of thing. So this will continue to be a travel piece throughout the month of November. I'm really hoping I can finish it in November, and so my travel stitching in December can be my Advent animals. That's my hope. I guess it's in this one. Okay, my main piece this week was the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Cozy Cafe Club. This is their 2021 Mystery Stitch Along that they put out a new part every month. And so I was behind because I had been working on this as travel stitching, and then I switched over to Autumn Beauties throughout the month of October, which put me behind on this one. So I worked on this as my main piece throughout the week, and I'm really happy with where I got. I'm not all the way caught up, but I'm in a much better place. Finished apple cider and all the borders on this piece, and I updated the border down here and a little bit of the shelf that hadn't been done yet. So that all that's left now to keep current is the actual mug and whatnot. And I'm tempted to keep the words the same, but I will probably wait on the words until the next part comes out, because somebody thought that maybe it had the word chai in it. I might do pumpkin spice chai if this one doesn't say chai, because pumpkin spice latte implies it's a coffee drink, and I don't like coffee, so I'm changing some of mine. Like mine says raspberry cocoa and hot tea instead of these coffee drinks. But so we'll kind of wait and see on that one. The new part comes out on the 25th, so I'll have to wait and see. I might wait on the words until I know what this one says to know if I want to change this one or not, because I think the last couple times I was at church, they had pumpkin spice creamer out. And so I was drinking my vanilla chai tea with pumpkin spice creamer. It was quite tasty. So I'm okay writing pumpkin spice chai. So that would be all right with me. So this is where I'm at with this one. This is on 25 count vintage cloth. in the color Prim, I think. I'm doing it 1/1 full crosses. All of the drinks are the called for DMC, and then I chose some fancy floss in my stash for the borders and the shelves just to kind of use it up and be fun, that were similar to what was called for. This I believe will be the next part right here, and so these border colors will continue. I just parked them for now because I don't want to cut them and then have to redo, especially this red one. It has a more strong variegation. I want to just keep going with it, and I don't know where it's going to stop. So I'll just hold off on that until the clue comes out, and I'll finish those off. But I got apple cider finished. I made one change on this. There are some beads in the apple that are black. They had charted these dots to be beads, which already I thought was a little odd. Similar to the beads inside the cup of raspberry lemonade, I decided just to do dark red spots instead of beads. But then I didn't really have a good petite bead that worked for that. Since I'm doing this on 1/1, I need petite beads, and so I'm just stitching from stash with the beads. So I went ahead and just did the darker color in here to maybe look more like it's just blending. And it could look a little bit spicy too, but I figured that was a nicer choice than the beads. So that's what I did there, the only change I made. And so the little fox mug with the pumpkin candies will be down here. So I'll work on that this week after my other focus piece is finished. So I do want to get this a little bit farther along before the next part comes out, but I have another focus piece I want to work on first, which will be my Frosted Pumpkins Leaning Tower of Macarons that I'm doing for my daughter. So this is something that I'm pretty sure I could finish this week in just a few days. I think I did this in maybe 2 days. So 2 or 3 days I think we'll get this finished. And then whatever time I have left in the week, I'll start working on the fox mug of the Cozy Cafe Co. So this is fun. My daughter's birthday is at the beginning of December, so I want to get this done and put it with her birthday presents. So I'll give that to her for her birthday. So it's pretty close. There's not a lot, there's 3 colors in each macaron. This one has 1 more color left. It might have some more of the dark yellow down here, I suppose, as a shadow, and then the darkest or medium yellow, and then the darkest in the middle still. I was gonna do all of them and then come back and do their eyes and mouths because it's all black. Be easier to do it all at the same time. So that's really cute. I'm doing it on perforated paper, brown, and I'll leave it just in this shape too. I modified mine slightly. You'll see it's not quite as leaning. I modified it to stay within the width of the plate, and I think I even shrunk the plate a little bit. So the plate's just slightly thinner, and then they're all they're still a little bit offset from each other, but they're not so leaning. So it could be more bookmark shape. So that's kind of what I did to alter that, but it's mostly the same. All the same colors, just a mixture of DMC. So I'll be working on that to get it finished this week. That's my goal. And then when I'm done with that, I'll work some more on the Cozy Cafe Club to hopefully get a good chunk started on that box mug, the pumpkin spice drink. And I also worked on His Name is Jesus for a little bit this week. I talked with Desiree, the Addicted Stitcher, and we worked on this. So mine is a mixture of Victorian mottos on 28 count ivory Lugana, 1/1 full crosses. So I worked some more on His Name is Jesus, the very center portion. So I finished the N and then did the is in between, and then started in on the A, I believe. I think it's, yeah, name. So that's the A. So that's what I got done. in the just about an hour that we were visiting. So pretty nice. Yeah, so that's always fun to work on every couple weeks. And we did the math. We started this in February and we've been working on it roughly every 2 weeks. I think we miss one here or there, but roughly every 2 weeks we'll stitch on it for an hour, hour and a half. And we only work on it those times or enough to kind of level out, so we're tracking along at the same stitch count throughout the time. That one's Pattern Keeper compatible for the most part, so we can just track our stitches on there. And we are just over a third of the way done now, so we've been working on it for a good chunk of the year. So I'm assuming that we'll probably finish it in 2023, so that'll be fun. So we'll be continuing to work on that throughout the next year. And I showed that. I think that's everything. So yeah, that's everything, and I'm pretty happy with that. Here's some more smoky. So I'm looking forward to getting things, just being able to enjoy my stitching. I have a few thoughts on plans, so if that doesn't interest you, you can come back and see me next week. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in plans, I'll kind of chatter away for a few minutes here, but I'm kind of, for the rest of this year, I do kind of want to focus on maybe one thing a week, just to kind of keep my stitching a little bit low key. But going into the new year, I do want to try to do a little bit of group challenge stitching, like Facebook group challenges. They're fun. I might want to do that once in a while. Not all the time maybe, but once in a while, follow some of those challenges. The other thing that I'm highly considering is limiting my whips to 22 projects for the year of 2022. I hesitate because I like probably more than 22. And if I'm working on Facebook challenges, sometimes they might recommend a specific piece. I'm like, oh, I know which one will work really well for that, but it's not one that I've chosen for my specific 22 projects that I should work on. So I don't know. And the other thing is, like, for example, if a challenge asks you to work on your largest whip, would it be allowed, you think, to choose the largest of that 22 that I've chosen? Because the other ones would technically be UFO'd for the year until I finish one and I can put it up in to take the place. So I don't know. I was thinking I could pick out 11 full coverage, 11 non-full coverage, and when I finish something, I could put something else in that spot that's like a similar vein of pattern. But then the other part of me just wants more freedom and flexibility to choose whichever projects are calling to me. I don't know that I'll be able to pick, like, narrow it down even to 22. I don't know. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on that? If I should attempt, I'm thinking I might play with the thought of having 22 projects and just see how hard it would be to narrow it down, or if the choices that I make are close to 22 anyways. And so, because I think some of these, like the Fat Quarter Shop things that I have outstanding and things like that, I'd probably put on there, and then as soon as they're done, I could put in something else. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. All my family pieces would be part of that choices. So yeah, I'm curious. Because part of me wants to continue to work on everything at least a little bit throughout the year, but I have over 80 projects, so that is hard to do sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what I'm musing on right now, and let me know what your thoughts are on that. And in the meantime, happy stitching. Bye.